bulu katu ñakamu dinoleti amanke adati fan dinolemu fen o fen kita kila ñala sallallahu alayhi wa sallam a sontala omu dinoleti omu dino bunda doleti sanji ma jelu birin gambia ya fallon birin afrika ya fallon ni ñakabe keri ni kanay ka fonye ko aka mo faale ntel nyanto lon na janni tel bina sanji keme saba sanji keme nani tubabol bijam inene ma fu moy ko kanata ñakato aka mo faale inene ma fu moy ko kanata ñakato ni be wulule be faalale o musol nimmi be wulule ka faale bilo bina fala ko aka mo faale ni musobe wulula ka faale wonte toñati badi misilmol toña kisi kilinti je namanke dina keloti wasitel be min campagne ka wala muso ni muso e futu ke fan susa nyola so ni tata nyakato e to nola be wala ke campagne kan muso ni muso e futu cewnin cew ka futu nimbi ko nyako nyaka ma mbete tilimbali yalam tajire yalam musola so me bine ba fala ko cewul kanata ku yamtu tilimbali yalam bala dimo le bije telbe talla wala nyama ni nate ko nyi mambeta ngo jolo nyi mambeta ngo jolo itali be newolu sole be newbula lala ibe da trolu sole be newbula ibe nya kunkul sola ye bata kunkul so mimbe bata kundu me ka so ika newbula la o tilimbali ya ni nya ka to ta jumala tilimbali ya warata to na bo nyama sakala mutakon na dino nga mutambul tan anim fulala cetala na ka be jasila ngata kadiliya alama kayro sabatila dama jam fumu me bema ala en nyaton ko nasima en nas jata kende yala GRTS la directo min tata alama yam fakelaye wala jang sone yala min be sela noto alama ala en ni wol fana makoy ay lonni fe cameraman olu masintiolu mil be masinto mil be bundaw bundato almanal sala kayrala la moyr lalu almanal la junbol be kafarla wa sallallahu ala nabina muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.
Here come the ducks. On Luzon, the largest island in the Philippines, and in quite a few other places in East Asia where rice is cultivated, it's the same scene after every harvest. The feathered brigade, previously kept penned up, are now being allowed to peck any grains left behind. Rice is second to wheat as the world's premier cereal in terms of quantity, but it's the most important as a means of direct nourishment for almost half the human race. 1/3 of the Earth's inhabitants, 90% of them in third world countries, live directly on rice. Only just 2% of rice harvests come onto the world market. To the peoples of Asia, which is where most of the rice eaters live, the daily bowlful of rice is all important. In some Asiatic languages, the word rice simply means food. This is Lapu-Lapu, the Filipino national hero who defeated the explorer Magellan and so managed to postpone the colonization of his country for half a century. Manila, the crowded, rapidly growing capital of the Philippines, provides a vivid illustration of the kind of increase in demand for rice that can be expected in the future. In the year 2020, there will probably be twice as many poor people living in slums like this. Will there then be enough rice for them all? Central Luzon, proverbially the rice bowl of the Philippines, has well-developed irrigation systems for wet field cultivation, which is how 80% of the total rice yield is produced. In water-rich regions, artificial irrigation makes it possible to achieve up to 3 harvests a year. Almost everywhere on Luzon, though, the precious water is only sufficient for 1 harvest. Throughout the region, every flat piece of land suitable for regulated irrigation has long since been brought into full use, so there's no possibility of extending cultivation further. With its broad hooves, the carabao, the Southeast Asian water buffalo, is the farmer's traditional helper in tilling the fields. Rice can be planted for centuries on one and the same field without the need for crop rotation. Volcanic particles from the atmosphere and in the water help maintain a constant supply of minerals and trace elements to the soil. Nevertheless, there's a flourishing trade with artificial fertilizers and with chemical agents designed to combat the various causes of harvest losses. But the cost of such aids, supposed to be weapons in the Green Revolution, is too much for the many small farmers struggling to feed themselves and their families on 1.5 to 2.5 hectares of rented rice fields. This golden snail was introduced as a delicacy 2 decades ago as a means of enriching the Filipinos' diet with protein. Since then, the snails have proliferated and become a serious menace to rice harvests. These people are hunting birds that love rice grains. The rat nuisance is a major problem. Year after year in the Third World, the greedy rodents destroy a large proportion of the harvest, either in the field or in store. And for fear of rats, rice straw is scarcely ever used nowadays. It's usually simply burned after the harvest, which means that much of the biomass produced in the field is lost. Here's Klaus Lamper, the Director General of the International Rice Research Institute.
In 30 years from now, we have, for example, in the Philippines, 120 million people, 60 million more than today. How to feed them, nobody seems to care. Over the last 30 years, rice had to increase to such an amount that today more than 600 million people can eat rice who otherwise would not be able to eat rice. And in 30 years, another 30 years, we are predicting a world population of about more than 8 billion people. More than half of them will be rice eaters. It is a prediction from United Nations data that about 400 million people will move over the next 10 years from rural areas in Asia to the big cities. What will happen is that the belt of poverty around these mega environments, or these mega urban agglomerations, will become most probably unbearable anymore. And what we will face is most probably social unrest of unseen magnitude. Our task is to grow more rice on less land, with less fertilizer, with less pesticides, with less labor, because producing rice is one of the most tedious tasks for a farmer.